In today's show, the Blazers bounce back from an ugly one with a offensive explosion, a $147 against San Antonio, the kind of night where everyone got in on the action, including the San Antonio Spurs. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen every single day. It's free on all platforms, Monday through Friday, coming at you every single weekday. So make it a part of your daily routine and tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, we are talking about the Blazers' bounce back win, a win you had to have, and they went and got it. They beat down a bad Spurs team after, well, let's say, a challenging first 2.5 quarters for the old Trailblazers defense, but they got the win. That's what matters. Talk about that game and some standout performances from some Blazers role players that I think are going to be crucial for them moving forward. And then we'll close the show talking about a trade. The Los Angeles Lakers acquire Rui Hachimura from the Washington Wizards, and I think that trade has some implications that can apply to your Trailblazers in the near and medium future here in the next 17 days or so before the NBA trade deadline. But first, let's do what we do. Fastest recap in the West. The Blazers win 147-127 over the San Antonio Spurs on Monday night at the Moda Center. It was high scoring. Neither team played even a small amount of defense in the first half. Blazers led 40-38 after one. It was tied at 74 at halftime. The Spurs were shooting 59.5% at halftime. Just a shade ahead of the Blazers, who were shooting 55.1%. Portland, a couple more free throws, one more made three. That's your tie ball game at 74. And this game was close until about midway through the third quarter. Portland was up 4 with just over 6 minutes remaining, and then closed the quarter on a 26-12 burst, who outscored San Antonio by 14 over the second half of the third quarter. They outscored them all told in the third 45-27. They took a 119-101 lead in the fourth quarter, and then that was that. It was Spurs never got within single digits. San Antonio is one of the truly bad basketball teams in this league, and the Blazers, after kind of messing around for a little bit, made sure they knew it. They cruise in the end, 147-127. Damian Lillard, 37 points, 12 assists, was 12 of 19 from the field, 7 of 11 from three, hit all 6 of his free throws. 37 and 12 in 31 minutes that's a game. That's an offensive game. That's pretty impressive. Anthony Simons, 26 points, 9 of 15 from the floor, 4 of 7 from the free throw line. Didn't have many secondary stats. Yusuf Nurkic, big old box score night for Yusuf Nurkic. Big old box score night. 25 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. The Blazers did this basically without Jeremy Grant doing anything. Did not make a shot in the first half. Went 1 of 9 from the field. Made a three-pointer in the third quarter. Finished with 3 points on 1 of 9 shooting. Scored a $147. And Jeremy Grant had a straight up bad basketball game. It didn't matter though, because Shaedon Sharpe had 19 off the bench and Nassir Little added 10. Josh Hart finished with 9 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. The Blazers notably did not change the starting lineup. Maybe there was, Chauncey Billups kind of halfway hinted, okay, the team is considering some changes, and it felt like they absolutely had to after that Laker game. And guess what? They didn't do anything. They didn't change a single thing. They just played a bad basketball team. That really helped. On the Spurs side, Keldon Big Body Johnson, one of the great nicknames, so we'll give it to him. 20 points, 4 boards, 18 from Jeremy Sohan, who also had 6 rebounds and 4 assists. Jakob Poeltl, foul trouble early, had to sit early didn't get to play very much at all in the second half. Finished with 14 points and 7 boards in under 16 minutes. This was a night where they had to play Zach Collins because the Blazers were just eating Jakob Poeltl alive in pick and rolls, and he was picking up fouls. Josh Richardson had 11 off the bench. The aforementioned Zach Collins finished with 13 off the bench. And, the Spurs scored 127. They also had a bunch of dudes who scored. I thought Trey Jones was pretty good in this game for the Spurs, 12 points and 7 assists. Was this a good game? No, I don't know. No, it wasn't a good basketball game. The Blazers didn't play well. I think I think you got to keep it a million on this. Like I would like to be as honest as possible. I try to be. I'm not like, I'm searching for my joy here, and I'm searching to help you find some joy too, dear Blazer fan, if you're listening to this podcast. But like they didn't play well in this game. You have 74 points in the first half to the Spurs. The Spurs were shooting almost 70% from three in the midway through the third quarter. They were just lighting them up. Here's the thing. 3-point shooting is a little bit random, right? You shoot the ball from 25 feet. It's there's only so much the defense can do. Some of it is just like luck. But the Blazers gave up a bunch of really clean looks. 17 of the first 19 3-pointers they took were catch and shoot. A lot of them in the corner. They were that catch and shoot courtesy of Corey Jazz on the Blazers broadcast. Thank you, Corey. But the Blazers were giving up penetration, straight line drives, which is the side of maybe not playing much defense. Let a guy drive straight to the rim. Straight line drive means you got to help because you didn't turn a guy. He just got to, you square his shoulders and get downhill. Straight line drive means you got to help. If you got to help, it means you're going to help off the perimeter, switch sides of the floor with the ball. You're going to give up catch and shoot threes. The Blazers gave up a bunch of clean looks. Like they got dusted on defense. This was a nightmare defensive game, quite frankly, the first 2.5 quarters. And then the Blazers, I don't even think they played much better on defense. Their offense just kept going when the Spurs couldn't sustain this, like, okay, we're going to win a shootout. You score 45 points in the third quarter and you win the game because our group is not going to stop scoring, and the Spurs, who are bottom 5 in the league on offense, bottom 5 in the league on defense, truly one of the awful teams in the league on purpose. They play a bunch of young guys. They're playing for something that is not winning basketball games this year. You may be familiar with it. He's a very tall person who plays in France right now, a teenager and living in Paris. But I don't think this was a good basketball game. I don't think the Blazers played well. But it was only going to be notable if they lost. So, I am not really in the here for nitpicking at this stage in the Blazers' career. I want to keep it real. I want to share my honest feelings. But, I think tonight, this moment, this segment is not here where I'm going to nitpick. I'm going to go the other way. I thought the Blazers had some role players like Shaedon Sharpe and Nassir Little and Gary Payton who played really well off the bench. And if Portland is ever going to turn this around and play multiple good games in a row and beat good teams, which we'll have a chance to do Wednesday against the Utah Jazz, they're going to need these gentlemen to help them. So instead of saying 127 to the Spurs is a nightmare and I don't think this was a good basketball game. Let's focus on the other side of the cooler side of the pillow, because I do think Shaedon Sharpe was really fun. I thought Nassir Little had a really good first shift, and I think Gary Payton just continues to do helpful stuff. Let's talk about those three in the second segment. But first, I want to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are here. We've made it to the conference championships, and I'm excited to tell you about our new sports betting partner for Locked On, because they're the number one sports book in America. It's FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. New customers, join today to get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlays. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So football fans, basketball fans, sports fans in general, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right. Let's talk about some good stuff that happened in this game. It's a Pro Joy podcast. Let's find some joy. Here's my joy. In the first 15 minutes he was on the court, Shaedon Sharpe scored 17 points. Here's the thing about scoring 147. A lot of dudes get in on the action. You get 26 from Ant, 25 from Nurk. That's a cool 51. You get 37 from Dame. There's 88 points from 3 dudes in the starting lineup. And there's still space for Shaedon Sharpe to finish with 19 points and 3 boards off the bench. 17 points in his first 15 minutes, though. Like, he played at the end of the game with the Blazers, like, mop-up duty crew, the end of the bench crew, and they looked like a group of gentlemen that don't play a lot of NBA basketball very regularly. But, like, Sharpe, he made his threes. Like, he 3 of 4 from 3. Like, I think a big number for him is 12 field goal attempts. 12 field goal attempts is a really nice number. Be aggressive. Look for your shot. They found him for easy buckets in transition that are super fun. Like, threw him a couple lobs where it's just like, oh, yeah. No one else is catching that one. He got one in transition where the lob was thrown a little bit behind him at like 11.5 feet. He went and caught it and dunked it all in one motion, like well above the rim, looking down at the rim from like his nose is above the rim and he's looking down at it as he dunks. Like dude flies. But more importantly, made his 3-pointers and was mostly ready to shoot. Actually, the one he missed, he was 3 of 4 from 3. The one he missed, he should have shot it when he caught it. Instead, he pump faked, took a dribble, and then took a harder 3-pointer from the corner. If he shoots that right away, it's not maybe not going in, even wide open shots going a little less than half the time. But like, yeah, he's not quite ready to shoot. Still the stuff that is a little bit troublesome with him. But he has improved so much after a rocky December. And this was a game where it's just like, let's just have the young man see the ball go in. They're playing him because he deserves minutes and because the rest of the roster, there's like not someone who's like clearly better than him at 19. And he needs NBA seasoning, and against a bad NBA team like Spurs, a perfect time to get Shaedon Sharpe loose. You really hope that, he's not going to score 17 in 15 minutes. Like, I don't think that's the goal with him. But like to push him up to like have nights where he scores 12 or 14 against better teams, I think that's the goal. And one way to do it is just to be able to have him watch film of positive things of like, yeah, this is how you score. You see how you attack quickly off the catch here. You see how you work the baseline here. You see how you can go get an easy rebound on this play. You can get out in transition. Like more positive film reinforcement for him that he can watch can help. Yeah, I think he's been better. I think he's been noticeably better. And this was he's incredibly fun. Even if he like is a rookie who has rookie struggles, he's outrageously fun. In this game, he was pretty darn fun. A couple other role players that I think were darn good for the Blazers. Nassir Little had 7 points in that first quarter. He played 6 minutes in the first quarter. I thought he might start in this game, or at least like get more minutes than he did. He's still playing that somewhere between 15 to 18 minute range. He didn't play mop-up duty, so that's kind of 18 minutes in the normal run of play, but he had 7 points in that first shift in the first quarter. So he played 6 minutes in the first quarter, had 7 points, finished with just 10, but like made both his threes. He's making multiple threes in games. He looks confident shooting the ball. I think that's a really big thing with Nas, is that sometimes his 3-point shot used to be a lot flatter, and sometimes I think he would rush it, and then you rush a shot with not a lot of arc, you shoot him short. I think he's really developed better looking stroke when he gets his feet under him and gets to shoot it with confidence. He looks really good shooting the ball right now. And quite frankly, I would say he is very different from Shaedon Sharpe, and Shaedon Sharpe could benefit from watching these Nas minutes. Nas is like very much ready to shoot. When he is on the wing, foul line extended at the slot, as some folks call it, like he's ready to shoot the ball. And if you're going to space there in the way it works, like if you're not involved in pick and rolls, which Nas really isn't. He's not a screen setter. He's not going to run many pick and rolls, so he's going to be spaced opposite the ball or be like filling in when pick and rolls are run, or when high screen actions are run, or handoffs are run. He's going to fill in or raise to that spot on the slot for spacing reasons, and you got to be ready to shoot the ball, and Nas has absolutely been ready to do that. He finished with 3 assists and a couple boards. If Nas develops some secondary skills, like he's not a very good passer right now, but he's not terrible. Like he can drive and see opposite. Okay, he's not like making high level passes, but pump fake, drive, see opposite. And if you shoot, close out, get to the middle of the paint, he's pretty good at little mid-range pull-ups. If you have that mixed with like being able to see the corner and the other wing, like some playmaking skills would really take Nas's game to the next level. He doesn't have a super tight handle. That's a hard thing to improve in season, but I think passing is something you can improve based on feel, seeing defenses, how they guard you a bunch of times. You can actually, I think in season, that's a skill you probably can improve just by playing a little bit more, just comfort with like when I drive, here's where the help usually comes from. When the help usually comes from, my guys are here and here. I get to make a decision. I can look off and pass here. I can make this pass always. I can make this secondary pass. Like I think Nas adding some of those skills can really help. And the last role player before I sort of get to my overarching point here is I thought Gary Payton was really not like great in this game, right? And his box score probably, I feel like Nurk was a lot worse than his box score. I feel like Nurk didn't, like, monster box score game, but I don't think he played very well. He just, like, in the third quarter got him easy pick and roll buckets because Zach Collins, God bless him, could not guard Nurk to save his life, and Nurk knew it, and he just started getting a bunch of easy layups. It's weird to say I don't think a guy played well when he had 25, 11, and 7. I don't think he was bad. I just don't think he played 25, 11, and 7 good. I think his box score belies kind of his overall effectiveness. And I think Gary Payton is on the other side. Like, I think his box score doesn't quite speak to how useful Gary Payton is. He's just good at stuff. He's a really good connector on both ends of the floor. He'll deny the ball on defense and allow other guys to play up because he's in the passing lane. And then, you know that Gary's going to lock down his man, so you don't have to help certainly off the ball when guys are cutting through because Payton is really aware and all those things. He keeps the glue together a little tighter on defense. Not that the Blazers played any defense in this game, and Gary Payton doesn't deserve much credit for that particularly, but like broadly speaking, he does that pretty well. But on offense, like, he just moves the ball really well. He taps out rebounds. He got to a loose ball and kept it alive, got to a long rebound and continued a possession. He knows where to be. He doesn't always look for a shot, and I think that can be maybe a little bit troubling when he's at the 3-point arc because teams know he's not going to shoot, and the Blazers having another player on the floor who teams don't have to guard on the perimeter is just like, probably going to get a little messy unless you go super small and don't have Gary Payton in there with a Nurk or a Drew Eubanks or a Josh Hart, or at least only small, so you can all attack with spaces or attack off the dribble at least in theory. But like, he moves the ball really well. He just does smart stuff on offense. He's still a really good screener, and he rolls into space out of screens, cuts into space to become available for passes. Like, he just does role player stuff really well. He probably can't scale up to being beyond what he is, but he does his job very, very well, and that's useful. And I feel like this game wasn't like, this game's a game you need to win. This isn't like a proof of concept type game. I think giving up a $127 to the San Antonio Spurs is proof of another concept, but not like of the Blazers sort of like, okay, if they play like this, they'll win. If they play like this against other teams, they'll lose by a lot because they'll give up 1,000 points. But like, if they're going to be at any point this season good, and like, I'm maybe beyond that level of optimism, but if they are, if it ever looks like this is a good team, Nas, GP, and Shaedon Sharpe are the guys off the bench who I think are going to key what they can be. Nas, eventually I want him to play more. Gary Payton played, what did he play, 18 minutes? I thought he played a little more than that. Yeah, 18:05. I thought he played 19, but I shorted him, or I gave him an extra 55 seconds. Like, I would like to see him play a little bit more. So in general, Josh Hart doesn't play as much. Even if Josh had played the final, his normal stretch, he would have only played like 33 minutes. So I think we're, if Josh plays more like 28, you can bump up a little more Gary Payton, a little more Nassir Little. Eventually, when Justice Winslow comes back, I'd like to see them play funky small lineups and just try it. It's not ideal. It's not always going to work. And against some teams, it's going to be totally impossible. But like, I want them to get there. And I want Shaedon Sharpe to become a bomber from 3. I want him to become, his shot looks so good when he's ready to shoot and is on balance. Really, really good shooter. He has a couple of nice pull-up moves and obviously the dunks and stuff. But like, I want Shaedon Sharpe to become a bomber. I want him to shoot, when he's in the game, I want him to shoot something like 7 threes. That's a lot if he's only going to play 20 minutes, but like, I want him, when he catches it from beyond the arc, to be ready to shoot and to shoot it, because I think he can shoot. I think he can go like 3 of 7 every night. 2 of 7, no problem, if he gets them up and shoots when he has a chance. I really want him to shoot a bunch. I want more Gary Payton in the lineup. I want more Nassir Little in the lineup. But the Blazers are going to be good. Those 3 guys are going to key what makes them special. And I think tonight you saw little glimpses of it, even if like it comes with, the biggest grain of salt, the largest and loudest caveats, a huge asterisk, all of those things. Was it Mark Echo who's going to asterisk the Barry Bonds ball? It was a Mark Echo asterisks on this basketball tonight. But in any case, that's sort of the formula. Like, you can see it through the mist, see it through the clouds a little bit out there in McCovey Cove. You can figure it out, like Barry Bonds hitting a steroid-juiced 74th home run. In any case, I want to talk about trades. Your Los Angeles Lakers, who you despise because you're that type of Blazer fan. They made a trade. They traded for Rui Hachimura. I think let's talk about what that trade means for them, what that trade means for the Blazers, and what that trade means for the rest of the league in the third segment. Join me there, won't you? Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond. You are still listening to Locked on Blazers. Let's talk trades. The Lakers made a trade today. They acquired Rui Hachimura from the Washington Wizards in exchange for a couple second-round picks and Kendrick Nunn, point guard Kendrick Nunn. Nunn was, he has some offensive skills, but he's he duplicates a lot of some of the skills the Lakers already have, and he's not as good. He's a straight up bad defender, and if they're going to play other point guards, like, you can get more out of Schroeder and Pat Bev combination, and they just need to get bigger on the wing. So they went and got Rui Hachimura, who was rumored to be available. At one point, the asking price for Rui Hachimura was hopefully first round type of pick. He ends up going for a couple seconds and salary filler. That's what Nunn is. Nunn is not like a piece of the future in Washington. Actually, I should add a caveat there as well. I have no idea what the Wizards are doing ever. It's been, since they won the title in 1978. I think basically since then, I haven't known what the Wizards are doing, and I wasn't even born yet. So, like, maybe Kendrick Nunn is like their point guard of the future. Who knows? But a real team treats him as salary filler. You're getting second round picks, and you knew you weren't going to re-sign Hachimura in the summer, so you're getting something for him. A couple things on this. Blazers they don't have a first round pick in this, or second round pick in this draft, but they do have multiple second round picks in a couple future drafts, 2024 and 2026. Conceivably they could have gotten in on this, but if the Blazers are trading for Rui Hachimura, they're giving up Justice Winslow. I don't think I'm not a big Hachimura believer. I think he's a dude who can pretty much only contributes on the offensive end, and I don't think he's a particularly efficient offensive player. That combination doesn't seem to be great for what the Blazers need, although they could use more offense. Would Hachimura for Winslow be a okay swap? Sure. But I'm not surprised the Blazers didn't get in on it, because what you're actually trading when you trade Winslow for Hachimura is you're trading, 35 games of Rui Hachimura and the right to pay him this summer, like his bird rights, his restricted free agent rights. Does that appeal to Portland? I don't know. I would say no. I have no problem. Like, I know whenever anyone like notable, particularly someone who's drafted 10th overall, gets traded, it's normal for fan bases and every other team, not just Blazer fans. I'm not singling you out, Blazer fan, every other team, to be like, why didn't we do that? I know who that is. I know former number 10 overall pick, Zags legend, Rui Hachimura. Like, sure. But I'm not, for me, I'm just not a fan of his game. So to me, it's fine. The Blazers passed on him. I think he'll probably help the Lakers. Okay. But he's such a mid-range guy. Like, I know they want him to be a catch and shoot guy, and LeBron has made a lot of players into good catch and shoot players. So maybe he'll just magically do it because he's, at worst, the second best basketball player of all time. So, like, yeah, maybe he'll be fine, and they definitely need some size on the wing. So it's an okay trade, and I think it's an okay trade that the Blazers were not involved in, right? Like, it's fine on both ends. He'll probably help the Lakers, and I wouldn't have been wild about it, although it would be fun to have some new shiny parts if you're the Blazers. Why not? I think what this really means is a couple different things, has implications in a couple different spots. One, the Lakers were going to be a few teams. They weren't going to quite have max money, but they were going to have like $30-ish million this summer, who could conceivably have been a landing spot for Jeremy Grant. So Grant is probably not going to sign a contract extension with the Blazers because his contract extension is only about $28 million annually. He can probably make more money than that in free agency this summer. He's been really good, apart from a bad shooting night against the Spurs. So, when you're looking around, it's like, what are good teams that could entice Jeremy Grant to go there? And the Lakers were certainly one of them. But if Hachimura is there, both with his cap hold, because if he's a restricted free agent to keep him on the books, they have to keep him on the books. And so he'll have a cap hold that'll eat into the Blazers cap space. And if they plan to pay him, which according to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, this deal included the Lakers' intention to pay Hachimura, then that's, another power forwardy type player who's going to eat into that money, meaning the Lakers will just have are one less suitor and certainly a somewhat realistic potential suitor for Jeremy Grant. I think that's good for the Blazers. I guess the only other team to really worry about is Memphis, a very good basketball team that could conceivably win the NBA title this year, also could have money to sign Jeremy Grant. And he would be really good there. But I mean, in general, this isn't fear mongering. I think Grant will get a whole bunch of money and remain a Portland Trailblazer. I don't think there's anything to worry about. But if there is another fallout of this Hachimura trade, is that it seems to take the Blazers out of the Lakers, out of the Jeremy Grant running, and one less team for the Blazers to actually worry about. The other thing that I think matters for Portland, and I think matters for the rest of the league here, is that this trade makes sense. This is the right amount of... Hachimura is not a starting quality NBA player, but he's like a rotation level player who was previously a lottery pick. At some point after 4 seasons in the league, does it matter that you were a lottery pick? No, I guess it matters for tweets from newsbreakers or whatever. So Shams and Woj can describe you in in a glowing way, but this is I'll give this is free professional advice that my father once gave me. At some point, it just matters what you do, not what you did. What are you doing right now? It doesn't matter that you were the 10th pick. It matters what you've done since you've been the 10th pick. I think for a rotation level forward who can score a little bit in the league, who was the team didn't want to keep him, a couple second round picks is about the right price. And I think that helps because it resets the realistic, what does an okay player go for on the market? An okay player shouldn't go for it like a late first. A late first round pick is more valuable than what Rui Hachimura brings. It's more valuable than Rui Hachimura's bird rights, in my humble opinion. This is my podcast. None of these opinions are humble. Some of them are wrong, but none of them are humble. I think after the Gobert trade that totally mucked up the whole sort of trade ecosystem, I think the Rui Hachimura starts pulling everybody back towards reality. I think this helps. Am I giving Rob Pelinka credit for bringing rationale back to the trade world? No, I'm not. Rob Pelinka doesn't deserve credit for anything. He had a championship level roster and he's systematically tore it down over 2 seasons with the help of LeBron James, to be certain. But he's not getting credit from me right now. So I think this, in general, this will help the whole league. It'll help sort of maybe let us see more action for low level trades at reasonable prices. I also think this gives you a sense of Justice Winslow gonna go for less. If the Blazers are trading, you're not gonna trade Winslow for picks or whatever. That doesn't make sense for the Blazers. They're gonna need a player back in return. They're gonna need a Kendrick Nunn type. But and I think Winslow is more equivalent to the Nunn in the trade than he is to the Hachimura, to be clear. But it gives you a sense of what a guy like a Josh Hart's market might be. It's not going to be super frothy. It gives you a sense of what the Blazers. We've talked about this a bunch, or I've talked about this a bunch. You've listened to it a bunch on this podcast. It's not like they have a bunch of juicy trade chips. So I think this helps set the market and gives you a realistic idea of what a good ask is. I think it's actually an okay trade for the Lakers. It's a good trade for the Lakers. I think it's fine for the Wizards, but when you draft a dude 10th overall, you're not hoping to turn him into 2 future second round picks in 4 years. That's not the goal. No, it's nobody's goal. The Blazers know that too well. They saw former 10th overall pick Zach Collins play for another team. You know what they turned him into? They let him walk for nothing. Turned him into nada. It happens. Okay, that's today's show. Guess what? Tomorrow's show is going to be a fun one. Nate Duncan of the Dunked On podcast and Dunked On Prime all over these basketball internets is joining the show. We'll talk about Shaedon Sharpe, talk a little bit about what the Blazers should do ahead of the trade deadline. It's a really good show, good conversation. I think you'll enjoy it. So come back tomorrow and we'll talk about that one. This you are listening to Tuesday, January 24th show. Nate's going to join the show on Wednesday, January 25th. Then on Wednesday night, the Blazers play the Jazz. So Thursday show, we'll talk about that game. How's that sound? It's pretty fun little week ahead. That's what we do here. Daily podcast, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, available wherever you get podcasts. So tell your friends about it and make it your first listen every single day. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.